Now to a CNN exclusive, the Department of Justice may be taking steps to indict music mogul Sean Diddy Combs.
Two sources close to the investigation tell us that a federal grand jury may soon hear from Diddy's accusers. Since November, Combs has been named in 8 civil lawsuits, 7 of them directly accusing him of...
It looks like the City G's Young Miami is getting exposed for transporting drugs for Diddy. And then she tried to snitch on him to Homeland Security to save herself. Now she's being subpoenaed by the feds to testify against Diddy in an upcoming grand jury hearing. It's been a messy few months for Diddy, and even though Young Miami tried to stay out of it, she just got dragged back into the mix because she was allegedly acting badly with Diddy. Now, new court filings alleged that Miami used to transport drugs for Diddy's use, and she partied with them while using them. But needless to say, she's in a whole lot of trouble with the feds. But she has no intentions of going down with Diddy. She's reportedly striking a deal to snitch on him to keep herself out of it. Now, if y'all thought that Young Miami was Diddy's ride or die, think again. She knows where all the bodies are buried and has no problem helping the feds dig up the truth about Diddy. The situation is a mess, but let's break this City Girl Act bad drama down.
We have learned from 2 sources that potential witnesses have been contacted and notified by federal investigators that they may be called to testify in front of a grand jury.
Y'all, we all need to just take a moment to exhale because every other second, it's some more drama going down in Hollywood. It's wild that everybody involved in this Diddy situation is ready to spill the tea and point some fingers. Just a few months ago, Diddy and Young Miami were living the high life together, swearing up and down they were each other's ride or die in shorty walks, and promising to stick by each other no matter what. But all that loyalty seemed to vanish into thin air when Diddy got sued last year by Cassie, his ex-girlfriend and former bad boy artist. She filed the mother of all lawsuits, and she laid out in detail the abuse she endured during the relationship, saying Diddy would often get physical, leaving her with bruises and emotional scars. She also mentioned that nobody in his inner circle dared to stand up for her or speak out because they were all too scared of him and feared the consequences if they crossed him. She also claimed that Diddy used to pimp her out to male escorts. He made her ed and let Cassie tell it. He forced her to take drugs and alcohol, then made her be intimate with these escorts while he recorded everything. But if that wasn't horrifying enough, he would later force her to watch these recordings and use them to blackmail her whenever she tried to stand up for herself or leave him. Now, Cassie finally managed to leave on a fateful day in 2018, though her life was a wreck for a while after that. But she's pulled through, got married, had kids, and built a beautiful family. And then last year, she got the courage to expose Diddy in a lawsuit, and it sent shockwaves through Hollywood. Now, Diddy wasn't the only one catching the heat. Young Miami faced some serious backlash for even being involved with him. People questioned why she was with someone accused of such terrible things. It really hurt her reputation. At first, fans were wondering if Young Miami was being hurt. But then they were able to dig out an old tweet from her that suggested that she was more involved in Diddy's shenanigans than we knew about. In the tweet, she made some bad comments about Diddy's other side piece, Gina Hyun, that kind of sounded like she was threatening Gina that she would make Diddy force Gina into a freak-off. She said, "If I wanted you to eat my pee, Diddy would have had you on your knees. You are an eater, Gina. You've been down bad ever since I came into the picture. You've been crying for a baby for 10 years. You've been around as a bee that eats P and D when he feels like it. You are an eater. You're the same bee that was crying on Tasha K because you wanted a baby, poor Sushi." This was absolutely vile. Now that we know about Diddy and the stuff that he's into, she was threatening Gina with some type of freak-off, but it definitely got her dragged, fulfilled, and she started crashing alongside Diddy. But what made things worse about this is that Gina once did sit down with Tasha K to talk about how Diddy allegedly hurt her and put his hands on her when they were together.
I mean, in the beginning, like the first 3.5 years, the first 3-4 months, he was really nice, but then after that, he started being an asshole. So
when you say mean, describe it.
He was like always belittling me and always like, he was like mentally, emotionally, and physically me. He took one of my heels and tried to throw it at me, and then he like mushed my face and like really hard and made my nose bleed.
She also claimed that she had gotten pregnant, but he forced her to get rid of it.
And you mind telling me what happened with that pregnancy?
I told him, and he was like, you're gonna get a right? And then I was like, I don't know. I don't know yet. And then he offered me $50,000 to get rid of it, but I turned it down because I just loved him, and I was like trying to prove that I wasn't the girl that wanted him for money.
Okay.
I just care about him, and I just wanted him to be nice to me. That's it.
Came out, this was a very bad look for young Miami. But it didn't really prove anything concrete. But fans were definitely speculating about her involvement with Diddy. But there wasn't any full evidence to suggest that she forced other women into anything if she participated in any of Diddy's activities and made her own woman choices. However, suspicions grew that she knew more about Diddy's alleged actions than she let on, especially when she started distancing herself from him. This happened before the other 4 lawsuits against Diddy emerged, making people wonder if there were more secrets yet to be revealed. Things got even messier when Diddy was hit with 3 more lawsuits from women accusing him of sexual assault, and the situation got uglier for Diddy, and his reputation took a serious hit. It was at this point young Miami made a significant effort and smart decision to show that she was no longer associated with Diddy and was moving on. Got to move on from whatever they had between them. She announced that she was launching a new era called Yams. So she deleted all her pictures of Diddy from her social media and completely stopped mentioning him online. But it wasn't just about social media. No, sources claimed that she distanced herself from Diddy because he had stopped giving her money every month, and she left him quicker than he could have ever imagined. According to a source, Diddy is no longer paying young Miami's bills. The friend told us that Diddy had been paying for private flights, shopping sprees, and rent for a luxury Miami penthouse. Now Diddy has cut those expenses. Diddy still buys young Miami a Christmas gift, but he's not as generous as he once was. The source continued, Diddy is not in a good place mentally either. He can really use someone like Kisha in his life. She really does care about him, not just his money. But that money is important, yes, so he has to start paying again if he wants her companionship. So with Diddy no longer bankrolling young Miami and his reputation in shambles, Miami bailed to avoid going down with him. She probably thought distancing herself would make people forget how close they were and her go poppy signs, but it was way too late for that. Now Homeland Security is involved in digging deep, and she's been exposed for allegedly moving drugs for Diddy. Remember the producer Lil Rod who sued Diddy in February? Initially, his lawsuit only mentioned Miami in passing, talking about her presence at the parties, but nothing too concerning. However, his updated lawsuit paints a different picture. Miami had been claiming that Diddy gave her $500,000 a month because he liked her and she was just good company. But according to the lawsuit, the story is not holding up. It claims that she was actually working as Diddy's sorcerer. The court document said, young Miami, Jade, and Daphne Joy were paid a monthly fee to work as Mr. Combs' sorcerers and received payment via wire transfer from Robin Greenhill, which outlined the defendant's ongoing criminal operation. Well, this isn't that shocking anymore, knowing what we know about Diddy and Miami's relationship. But the real shocker was the claim that Miami allegedly used to move drugs for Diddy. Not young Miami being a mole. According to the court documents, plaintiff and the Combs Rico enterprise were rehearsing for something in the Water Festival in Virginia. The court filing reads, Plaintiff Jones personally witnessed Mr. Combs do a few lines of coke in his dressing room. Defendant seen Combs wanted Tucci, but Brendan forgot it. So defendant Christina Quorum called young Miami, who then brought it on a private jet from Miami. Y'all, this is real bad. Like a real bad look for her. This is implicating her in a full crime. Talk about acting bad. And we're not talking just about fans speculating anymore. This is some serious federal stuff, and you can bet young Miami is not trying to go down with Diddy. And according to an anonymous source, she knows Diddy can't save her now, and she's volunteering to snitch on Diddy to the feds in exchange for walking free. She doesn't want to end up behind bars, which would pretty much be guaranteed if she doesn't cooperate. She allegedly knows where all the bodies are buried and where all the videos are hidden and has information about more alleged crimes that could put Diddy away for a long time. But if you're wondering why she might feel comfortable betraying him, well, it's a dog-eat-dog world. I mean, Diddy allegedly fled with Homeland Security arresting his sons, so Miami knows better than to depend on him for protection. This whole situation is crazy, and it just goes to show how wild Hollywood is and how you should never believe what you see on the gram. Like the grannies say, believe half of what you see and none of what you heard. Half of these people are just faking it or doing some really shady stuff to afford what they're flaunting on social media. But y'all, according to CNN, there are plans being put in place for a grand jury to indict Diddy based on the accusations and lawsuits that he is facing in the last couple of months. I mean, 7 different people have sued Diddy for allegedly assaulting them, with encounters going back as far as the early 90s. That's at least 30 years of him allegedly doing horrible things to people and allegedly assaulting them. Even though the statute of limitations has passed on most of the crimes, the feds can still bring charges against him if he's indicted by a grand jury. According to CNN, federal investigators are preparing to bring accusers of music mogul Sean Diddy Combs before a federal grand jury. 2 sources familiar with the probe tell CNN, signaling the U.S. Justice Department is moving toward potentially seeking an indictment of Combs. They went on to say that possible witnesses have been notified by investigators that they could be brought in to testify in front of a federal grand jury in New York City. According to one source, bringing individuals who have filed civil lawsuits against Combs before a grand jury would mark a significant escalation in the government's ongoing investigation involving the producer and Bad Boy Records founder. Well, allegedly, Young Miami has been notified that she will be called on to testify during the trial, which kind of explains why she recently unfollowed Diddy on Instagram. She doesn't want to be tied to Diddy any longer, and she is going over and beyond to distance herself from him. But it looks like that's not going to work because she has allegedly been served a court notice, and the last thing she wants to do is perjure herself trying to save Diddy, especially because everybody knows what he's like. And y'all know the streets have been talking about it. They've been in comments saying, nah, not gonna lie. There's no easy way out for Kisha. If she testifies against Diddy, he's going to unravel her. She's going to be sitting right in the jail cell. Yeah, it's curtains for Diddy. He better get the strongest defense team he could find. But this other person thinks that Miami will be facing lawsuits of her own and said, y'all saying Karisha is going to testify is funny because when her and his BM was arguing, Kisha said, I'll have Diddy make you get on your hands and knees and eat my pee. She about to be a Diddy C defendant. But I got to know what y'all think about this. Do you think that Young Miami is going to be going to jail with Diddy? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and then check out this next video.